laying plans. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state. It is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war, then, is governed by 5 constant factors to be taken into account in one's deliberations when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. These are the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, method, and discipline. The moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with their ruler, so that they will follow him regardless of their lives, undismayed by any danger. Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. By method and discipline are to be understood the marshaling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the graduations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of military expenditure. These 5 heads should be familiar to every general. He who knows them will be victorious. He who knows them not will fail. Therefore, in your deliberations, when seeking to determine the military conditions, let them be made the basis of a comparison. In this wise, which of the 2 sovereigns is imbued with the moral law? Which of the 2 generals has most ability? With whom lie the advantages derived from heaven and earth? On which side is discipline most rigorously enforced? Which army is stronger? On which side are officers and men more highly trained? In which army is there the greater constancy both in reward and punishment? By means of these 7 considerations, I can forecast victory or defeat. The general that hearkens to my counsel and acts upon it will conquer. Let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel nor acts upon it will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. While heading the profit of my counsel, avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond the ordinary rules. According as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When far away, we must make him believe we are near. Hold out baits to entice the enemy. Feign disorder and crush him. If he is secure at all points, be prepared for him. If he is in superior strength, evade him. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest. If his forces are united, separate them. Attack him where he is unprepared. Appear where you are not expected. These military devices, leading to victory, must not be divulged beforehand. Now the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple ere the battle is fought. The general who loses a battle makes but few calculations beforehand. Thus do many calculations lead to victory and few calculations to defeat. How much more no calculation at all? It is by attention to this point that I can foresee who is likely to win or lose. War gegen war. Sun Tzu said, in the operations of war, where there are in the field 1,000 swift chariots, as many heavy chariots, and 100,000 mail-clad soldiers, with provisions enough to carry them 1,000 li, the expenditure at home and at the front, including entertainment of guests, small items, such as glue and paint, and some spent on chariots and armor, will reach the total of 1,000 ounces of silver per day. Such is the cost of raising an army of 100,000 men. When you engage in actual fighting, if victory is long in coming, then men's weapons will grow dull, and their ardor will be damped. If you lay siege to a town, you will exhaust your strength. Again, if the campaign is protracted, the resources of the state will not be equal to the strain. Now, when your weapons are dulled, your ardor damped, your strength exhausted, and your treasure spent, other chieftains will spring up to take advantage of your extremity. Then no man, however wise, will be able to avert the consequences that must ensue. Thus, though we have heard of stupid haste in war, cleverness has never been seen associated with long delays. There is no instance of a country having benefited from prolonged warfare. It is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. The skillful soldier does not raise a second levy, neither are his supplies wagons loaded more than twice. Bring war material with you from home, but forage on the enemy. Thus the army will have food enough for its needs. Poverty of the state exchequer causes an army to be maintained by contributions from a distance. Contributing to maintain an army at a distance causes the people to be impoverished. On the other hand, the proximity of an army causes prices to go up, and high prices cause the people's substance to be drained away. When their substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. With this loss of substance and exhaustion of strength, the homes of the people will be stripped bare, and 3/10 of their income will be dissipated, while government expenses for broken chariots, worn-out horses, breastplates and helmets, bows and arrows, spears and shields, protective mantles, draft oxen, and heavy wagons will amount to 4/10 of its total revenue. Hence a wise general makes a point of foraging on the enemy. One cartload of the enemy's provisions is equivalent to 20 of one's own, and likewise a single pickle of his provender is equivalent to 20 from one's own store. Now in order to kill the enemy, our men must be roused to anger. That there may be advantage from defeating the enemy, they must have their rewards. Therefore in chariot fighting, when 10 or more chariots have been taken, those should be rewarded who took the first. Our own flags should be substituted for those of the enemy, and the chariots mingled and used in conjunction with ours. the captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept. This is called using the conquered foe to augment one's own strength. In war, then, let your great object be victory, not lengthy campaigns. Thus it may be known that the leader of armies is the arbiter of the people's fate, the man on whom it depends whether the nation shall be in peace or in peril. Attack by stratagem. Sun Tzu said, "In the practical art of war, the best thing of all is to take the enemy's country whole and intact. To shatter and destroy it is not so good. So too, it is better to recapture an army entire than to destroy it, to capture a regiment, a detachment, or a company entire than to destroy them. Hence, to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting." Thus, the highest form of generalship is to balk the enemy's plans. The next best is to prevent the junction of the enemy's forces. The next in order is to attack the enemy's army in the field. And the worst policy of all is to besiege walled cities. The rule is not to besiege walled cities if it can possibly be avoided. The preparation of mantlets, movable shelters, and various implements of war will take up 3 whole months. And the piling up of mounds over against the walls will take 3 months more. The general, unable to control his irritation, will launch his men to the assault like swarming ants, with the result that 1/3 of his men are slain, while the town still remains untaken. Such are the disastrous effects of a siege. Therefore, the skillful leader subdues the enemy's troops without any fighting. He captures their cities without laying siege to them. He overthrows their kingdom without lengthy operations in the field. With his forces intact, he will dispute the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph will be complete. This is the method of attacking by stratagem. It is the rule in war, if our forces are 10 to the enemy's 1, to surround him. If 5 to 1, to attack him. If twice as numerous, to divide our army into 2. If equally matched, we can offer battle. If slightly inferior in numbers, we can avoid the enemy. If quite unequal in every way, we can flee from him. Hence, though an obstinate fight may be made by a small force, in the end it must be captured by the larger force. Now the general is the bulwark of the state. If the bulwark is complete at all points, the state will be strong. If the bulwark is defective, the state will be weak. There are 3 ways in which a ruler can bring misfortune upon his army. By commanding the army to advance or to retreat, being ignorant of the fact that it cannot obey. This is called hobbling the army. By attempting to govern an army in the same way as he administers a kingdom, being ignorant of the conditions which obtain in an army. This causes restlessness in the soldier's minds. By employing the officers of his army without discrimination, through ignorance of the military principle of adaptation to circumstances. This shakes the confidence of the soldiers. But when the army is restless and distrustful, trouble is sure to come from the other feudal princes. This is simply bringing anarchy into the army and flinging victory away. Thus we may know that there are 5 essential elements for victory. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. He will win who, prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. Hence the saying, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle.
Tactical dispositions. Sun Tzu said, "The good fighters of old first put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat, and then waited for an opportunity of defeating the enemy." To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Thus, the good fighter is able to secure himself against defeat, but cannot make certain of defeating the enemy. Hence the saying, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. Security against defeat implies defensive tactics. Ability to defeat the enemy means taking the offensive. Standing on the defensive indicates insufficient strength, attacking, a superabundance of strength. The general who is skilled in defense hides in the most secret recesses of the earth. He who is skilled in attack flashes from the topmost heights of heaven. Thus, on the one hand we have ability to protect ourselves. On the other, a victory that is complete. To see victory only when it is within the ken of the common herd is not the acme of excellence. Neither is it the acme of excellence if you fight and conquer and the whole empire says, "Well done." To lift an autumn hair is no sign of great strength. To see the sun and moon is no sign of sharp sight. To hear the noise of thunder is no sign of a quick ear. What the ancients called a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease. Hence his victories bring him neither reputation for wisdom nor credit for courage. He wins his battles by making no mistakes. Making no mistakes is what establishes the certainty of victory, for it means conquering an enemy that is already defeated. Hence the skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible, and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Thus it is that in war the victorious strategist only seeks battle after the victory has been won. Whereas he who is destined to defeat first fights and afterwards looks for victory. The consummate leader cultivates the moral law, and strictly adheres to method and discipline. Thus it is in his power to control success. In respect of military method, we have, firstly, measurement, secondly, estimation of quantity, thirdly, calculation, fourthly, balancing of chances, fifthly, victory. Measurement owes its existence to earth, estimation of quantity to measurement, calculation to estimation of quantity, balancing of chances to calculation, and victory to balancing of chances. A victorious army opposed to a routed one is as a pound's weight placed in the scale against a single grain. The onrush of a conquering force is like the bursting of pent-up waters into a chasm 1,000 fathoms deep.
Energy. Sun Tzu said, "The control of large force is the same principle as the control of a few men. It is merely a question of dividing up their numbers. Fighting with a large under or command is nowise different from fighting with a small one. It is merely a question of instituting signs and signals to ensure that your whole host may withstand the brunt of the enemy's attack and remain unshaken. The size affected by maneuvers, direct and indirect, that the impact of your army may be like a grindstone. Das Heiligensteinig. Thesis affected Bethescience. Off weak points and strong. In all fighting, the direct method may be used. For joining battle, but indirect methods will be needed in order to secure victory. Indirect tactics, efficiently applied, are inexhaustible, as heaven and earth, unending gas the flow, over sand streams, like hath the Sunan, they end but to begin anew. Like hath the for seasons, they pass away. Torter nonce more. There are not more than 5 musical notes. Yet, the combinations of these of 5 give rise to more melodies than can ever be heard. There are not more than 5 primary colors: blue, yellow, red, white, and black. Yet in combination, they produce more hues than can ever been seen. There are not more than 5 cardinal tastes: sour, acrid, salt, sweet, bitter. Yet, combinations of them yield more flavors than can ever be tasted. In battle, there are not more than 2 methods of attack: the direct and the indirect. Yet, these a twine combination, giveristo endless series of maneuvers, the direct and the indirect, lead on to each other in turn. It is like a movingian assel. You never cometo an end. Who can exhaust the possibilities of their combination? The onset of troops is like the rush of faderant, which will even roll stones along in its course. The equality of decision is like the well-timed swoop of a falcon which enables it to strike and destroy its victim. Therefore, the good fighter will batter a blane his set and prompt in his decision. Energy may be likened to the bending of a crossbow. Decision to their leasing off a trigger. Amid the turmoil and tumult of battle, there may be seeming disorder, and yet no real disorder at all. Amid confusion and chaos, your array may be with your door tail, yet it will be proof against defeat. Simulated disorder. Postulates perfect discipline. Simulated fear postulates courage. Simulated weakness postulates strength. Hiding order beneath the cloak. Off disorder is simply a question of subdivision. Concealing courage. Under a show off timidity. Presupposes a fund. Of latent energy. masking strength with weakness, is to be affected by tactical dispositions. Thus, one who is skillful at keeping thenomy on the move maintains deceitful appearances, according to which theme will act. He sacrifices something that thenomy may snatch at it. By holding out baits, he keeps him on the march. Then, with a body of picked men he lies in wait for him. The clever combatant looks tot effect of combined energy and does no trickery to much from individuals. Hence, his ability to pick out the right men and utilize combined energy. When he utilizes combined energy, his fighting men become, as it were, like unto rolling glogsore stones. For it is the nature of philosopher stone to remain motionless on level ground and to move when in a slope. If cornered, to come to a standstill, beauty frown shaped, to go rolling down. Thus, the energy developed by good fighting men. I sass the momentum of a round stone, rolled down a mountain, thousand soft feet in height. So much in thes object of energy.
Weak points and strong. Sun Tzu said, "Whoever is firsteth and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to battle will arrive exhausted. Therefore, the clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed in him. By holding out advantages to him, he can cause a enemy to approach of his own accord, or by inflicting damage, he can make it impossible for the enemy to draw near. If the enemy is staking his, he can harass him. If well supplied with food, he can starve him out. If quietly encamped, he can force him to move. Appear at points which the enemy must the stint to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected. Enemy may march great distances without distress. If it marches through country where the enemy is not, you can be sure of succeeding in your attacks. If you only attack places which are undefended, you can ensure Thesifidio für defense. If you only hold positions that cannot be attacked. Hence, that general is skillful. In attack was the opponent. Does not know what to defend. Andy is skillful in defense. Whose the opponent does not know what to attack. Ode of any art of subtlety and secrecy. Through you way learn. Tobe invisible. Through you inaudible.
An hensøve kan hold.
The enemy's fate. Inner hands. You may advance. And be absolute lie irresistible. If you make. For the enemy's weak points. You may retire. And be safe from pursuit. I fire movements air. More rapid than those off the enemy. If we wish to fight, the enemy can be forced. Tone engagement. Even thuf be sheltered. Behind a high rampart. And a deep ditch. All we need o is satic. Sumiother placeth that. He will be obliged to leave. If we do not wish to fight, we can't prevent the enemy from Ingajingus. Even Thothalines. O for encampment. Be merely traced out. On the ground. All we needo. Is to throw something God. And unaccountable. In his way. By discovering. The enemy's dispositions. And remaining invisible yourselves. We can keep our forces concentrated, while the enemies must be divided. We can form a singly united body, while the enemy must split up into fractions. Hence there will be a whole pitted against separate parts awful, which means that we shall be many. To the enemy's few, and a few arable. Thus to attack an inferior force with a superior one. Our opponents will be in dire straits. Thespitware. We intend to fight. Must not be made known. Fourth and theme will have. Topper parry against. A possible attack. its several difference, and as forces, being thus distributed in many directions, the numbers we shall have to face
at ang event point
will be proportionately few. For Schuldthenemy, strengthen his fin, he will weaken his rear. Should he strengthen his rear, he will weaken his fin. Should he strengthen his left, he will weaken his right. Should he strengthen height, he will weaken his left. If hesance, reinforcements everywhere, he will everywhere weak. Numerical weakness comes from having top repair against possibly tax. Numerical strength from compelling our adversary. Tomachethus separations against us. Knowing the place, antithymia, thecoming battle, we may concentrate from thegreatus distances in order to fight. But if neither time nor place known, then the left wing will be potentis succor, the right therig tequally impotent to succor the left, thevenunable, torly vitherior, or the art of support. The van. How much Mariso? If the furthest portions of the army area anything under 100 li apart, and event the nearest, are separated by several li, though according Tomi estimateth soldiers of Euhexede, our own a number, that shall advantage them nothing. In the matter of victory, I saythin that victory can be achieved. Thoughthenemy, but stronger in numbers, we may prevent him from fighting. Schemes so as to discover his plan Santhalikelihood. Oft our success rouse him, and aren't the principle obvious activiturin activity. Force him to reveal himself, so as to find out his vulnerable spots. Carefully compare the opposing army with your own. so that you may know where a strength is superabundant, and where it is deficient. In making tactical dispositions, the highest pitch you can attain is to conceal them. Conceal your dispositions, and you will be safe from Thepringoff, the subtlest spies, from the machinations, oft was his brains. How victory may be produced for the mount of the enemy's own tactics. That is why the multitude cannot comprehend. All men can see the tactics whereby I conquer. But what none can see is the strategy out of which victory is evolved. Do not repeat the tactics which have gained you one victory, but let your thoughts be regulated by the infinite variety of circumstances. Military tactics are like unto water, for water in its natural course runs away from high places and hastens downwards. Soin war, boyisto avoid. What a strong in toe strike, at what is weak. Water shapes out according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. The soldier works out his victory in relation to the home is facing. Therefore, justice water retains no constant shape. Soin were fair. There are no constant conditions. He will can modify his stacks in relation to his opponent, and thereby succeed in winning, may be called a heaven-born captain. Theft of elements, water, fire, wood, metal, earth, aeronautal ways, equally predominant. The for seasons make way for each other. In turn, there are short days and long. Themoon has its periods of waning and waxing. Maneuvering. Sun Tzu said, in war, the general receives his commands from the sovereign. Having collected an army and concentrated horses, he must harmonize the differentlements before pitching his camp. After that, comest tactical maneuvering, than which there is nothing more difficult. The difficulty of tactical maneuvering consists in turning the devious into the direct and misfortune to gain. Thus, to take ye along in circuitous route, after enticing the enemy out of the way, and thof starten guff turum, to contraveder each, the goal before him, shows knowledge of the artificial deviation, maneuvering with an army, is advantageous with an undisciplined multitude, most dangerous. I said, a fully equipped army, in mark in order to snatch an advantage, the chances are that you will be too late. On the other hand, to detach a flying column for the purpose involves the sacrificio fits baggage and stores. Thus, if you order a Orman to roll up their buff coats and make foresaid marches with falting day or night, covering double the usual distance, at a stretch, doing 100 li, in order to wrest an advantage, the leader so fall, your 3 divisions will fall into the hands of the enemy. The stronger men will be in front. The jaded ones will fall behind. And don't displainingly. 1/10 of your army will reach its destination. If you march 50 li, in order to maneuver the enemy, you will lose the leader. Of your first division, and only half your force will reach the goal. If you march 30 li, with the same object, 2/3 of your army will arrive. We may take it in that an army without its baggage train, I lost. Without provisions that I lost. Without basis of supply at I lost. We can enter into alliances until we are acquainted with the designs of foreign neighbors. We are not fiddled. An army in the march, unless we are familiar with the face of the country, its mountain sand forests, its spitful sand precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall bunable to turn natural advantage, unless we make usio guides. In war, practice dissimulation, and you will succeed. Whether to concentrate, ordo dividior troops, must be decided by circumstances. Letio Euripidity, that of the wind, your compactness that of the forest. In raiding and plundering, be like fire, in immovability like ye mountain. Let your plans be dark, and impenetrably night. And when you move, phallic ye thunderbolt. When you plunder a countryside, let the spoil be divided amongst the oarmen. When you capture new territory, cut it up into allotments. For the benefit of te soldiery, ponder and deliberate before you make a move. He will conquer woho learned. The artificio of deviation. Succus the art of maneuvering. The book of army management says, on the field of battle, the spoken word does not carry fair enough. Hence the institution of gong sandrums, nor can ordinary objects be seen clearly enough. Hence the institution of banner sand flags, gong sandrums, banner sand flags, Aramin swearby, their sand eyes of the host may be focused on a particular point. The host thus forming a singly united body. Is it impossible either for the bravado advance alone, or for the cowardly to retreat alone? Thesis theatre fanling, large necessifman, innate fighting, then Makamuchu Soph. Signal fire sandrums, and in fighting be day, all flag sand banners, asa meansif influencing, their sandy esophiormi. A holy army may be robbed off its spirit. A commander-in-chief may be robbed office presentioffment. Now a soldier spiritus keenest. In the morning, by noon day ethas begun to flag, and in th'evening, his mind is spent. On Leon returning to camp, a clever general, therefore, avoids an army when spiritus keen, But attacks it when it is sluggish and inclined to return. This is the art of studying moods. Disciplined dan cam to await the appearance of disorder and hub amongst me. This is thart overtaining self-possession to beneath the goal, while the enemy is still far from it. To white it is, while thin and struggling to be well fed, while the shemi is famished. This is their tough, husbanding one's strength to refrain from intercepting an enemy husbanders, Arian perfecter, to refrain from attacking an army drawn up in Kalman confident array. This is thart of studying circumstances. It is a military axiom. Not to advance up against the enemy, nor to pursue him when comes downhill. Do not pursue enemy who simulates flight. Do not attack soldiers whose temper is keen. Do not swallow bait offered by the enemy. Do not interfere with the enemy that is returning home. When you surround an army, leave an outlet free. Do not press a desperate foe. Too hard. Such is theretofore fare. Thirmianth March. Sun Tzu said, "We come note the question off. Encamping thermi and observing signs of the enemy. Pass quickly over mountains and keep in the neighborhood awfulies. Camp in high places, facing Thesan. Do not climb heights in order to fight. So much for mountain warfare. After crossing a river, you should get far away from it. When an invading force crosses a river, in its onward march, do not advance to meet a timid stream. It will be best to lethal thermigid across and thin delivery erratic. If you are anxious to fight, you should not gotta meet the invader near a river, which a has to cross. More your craftiger up than the enemy, and facing Thesan. Do not move upstream to meet the enemy. So much for river warfare. In crossing salt marshes, your select concern should Beto get over them quickly, without any delay. If we're said to fight in a salt marsh, You should have water and grass near you, and jetty your back. To a clump of trees. So much for operations. In salt marches. Indra level country. Take up. Any a still accessible position. With rising ground toyorite. And on your air. So that a danger. May be in front. And safetally behind. So much for campaigning. In flat country. The sira the forus full branches. Of militaric knowledge. Which enabled the yellow emperor. To vanquish for several sovereigns. Alarmius prefer. High ground to low. And son of placestidark. If you are a careful fireman. And camp in hard ground. Thermi will be free. From decisio feveri kind. Anthus will spell victory. When you come. To a hill or a bank. Occupy the sun aside. With a slope. On Eurytriter. Thus you will at once act. For the benefit. Of fire soldiers. And utilize. The natural advantages. Of the ground. When. In consequence. Off the averance up country. A river which you wish to ford. Is swollen. And flecked with foam. You must wait until it subsides. Country in which there are. Precipitous cliffs. With torrents running between. Deep natural hollows. Confined places. Tangled thickets. Quagmire sand crevasses. Should be left. With all possible speed. And not approached. While we keep away. From such places. We should get the enemy. To approach them. While we face them. We should let the enemy. Have them on his rear. I think the neighborhood. Off your camp. There should be any hilly country. Ponds surrounded be aquatic grass. Hollow basins filled with reeds. Or woods with thick undergrowth. They must be carefully routed out. And searched. For easier places. Where men in ambush. Or insidious spies. Aralai clydable lurking. When Thenamias close. Hand and remain squiet. He is really ingen. The natural strength. A fist position. When keeps aloof. And triesto provoke a battle. He I sanctious for theater. Sedetto advance. If is place of encampment.
Is he show success?
He is stendering abate. Movement amongst the trees. Ophaphorus shows. That Thenamius advancing. The appearance. A number of screens. In the midst of the grass. Means that the enemy. Wants to make us suspicious. Theracing gothbirds. In their flight. Is the signal for an ambuscade. Startled beasts syndicate. Theta sudden attack is coming. When there is distrising.
Inahay kolon.
It is the signifariate sadvancing. When the dust is slow. But spread over a wearia. It betokens the approach. Of infantry. When it branches out in different directions, it shows that party shave been sent. To collect firewood. A few clouds softest. Moving to and fro. Signifieth a thermy. Icing camping. Humble words. And increased preparations. A resigns that henemy is about to advance. Violent language. And driving forward. A sifto the attack. A resigns they will retreat. When the light chariots come out for stand take up. A position on thewings. It is a sign that the enemy is forming for battle. Peace proposals unaccompanied by a sworn covenant. Indicatia plot. When there is macrunning about. And thessol deers fall into rank. It means that the critic calmament the scum. When Samir seen advancing. And Samara triating. It isolar. When the soldiers stand leaning on hair spears, they are faint from want of food. If those swearsent. Todra water. Begin by drinking themselves. The army is suffering from thirst. If thenum is an advantage. Toby gain Dan makes no fort. To secure it. The soldier series hosted. If birds gather on an spot. It isen occupied. Clamor be night. Vedo kinst nervousness. If there is disturbance in the camp. The general s authority is weak. If the banner sand flags are shifted about. Sedition isofute. If the officers are angry, it means that the we worry. When an army feeds its horses with grain and kills, it scattle for food. And when themin do nothing their cooking pots over the campfires, showing that they will not return to their tents. You may know that they are determined to fight a the death. The side Toffman whispering Togather. In Smalknotzer speaking. In subduetens points. Totus affection amongst. The rank and file. 2 frequent rewards signify. That thenemius. Ad endofis resources. 2 mana punishments betray. A condition of the registris. To begin be bluster. But afterwards stow take fright. A thenemy s numbers. Shows as you prima lack of intelligence. When in voice air sent. With compliments in their mouths. It is a sign that the thenemy wishes for a truce. If thenemy s troops march up angrily and remain facing ours for a long time without either joining battle or taking themselves off again, the situation is in a thought demands great vigilancy and circumspection. I for troops air no more. A number than thenemy. That is simply sufficient. It on laments that. No direct camba made. What we can do simply. To concentrate. Allure available strength. Keep a close watch in thenemy. And obtain reinforcements. Huho exercises no forethought, but makes light of his opponents. Is Shirito be captured Bitham? If soldiers ser punished, before they have grown, attached to you, they will not prove submissive, and, unless submissive, then will be practically useless. If, when the soldiers have become attached toy, punishments are not enforced, they will still be useless. Therefore, as aldies must be treated, in the first instance with humanity, but kept under control by me and so fire on discipline. This is ascertain road to victory. I've been training soldiers. Era habitually enforced. Theory will be well disciplined.
Not.
Its discipline will be bad. If a general shows confidence seen hisman, brutal ways insists on his orders being obeyed, the gain will be mutual. X. Terrain. Sun Tzu said, we may distinguish 6 kinds of terrain: accessible ground, entangling ground, temporizing ground, narrow passes, precipitous heights, positions at a great distance from the enemy, ground which can freely traversed be both sides, is called accessible. With regard to ground of this nature, but before the mine occupying, their eyes dance any spots, and carefully guard your lineage of supplies. Then you will be able to fight with advantage, ground which can be bonded, beautishard to occupy, escalade entangling. From a position of the sort, if the enemy is unprepared, you may sally forth and defeat him. But if the enemy is prepared for your coming, and you fail to defeat him, then return binge impossible. Disaster will ensue. When the position is like that, neither side will gain. By making the first move, it is called temporizing ground. In a position of the sort, even thought the enemy should offer us an attractive bait. It will be advisable not to stir forth, but retherto retreat, thus enticing Thenemi in his stern. Then, when part of Fizerme has come out, we may deliver our attack with advantage. With regard to narrow passes, if you can occupy them first, let them be strongly garrisoned, and await Hedventoft enemy. Should the army forestall you in occupying a pass, do not go after him. If the pass is fully garrisoned, Butin life it is weakly garrisoned. With regard to precipitous shades, if you are beforehand with our adversary, you shoot a cupitherize a dance in a spots. And their wait for him to come up. If the enemy has occupied them, before you. Do not follow him. Butri triantry. To entice him away. If you are situated at a great distance from the enemy, and the strength off the tormia sisequal, it is not easy to provoke a battle, and fighting will be toyo your disadvantage. The Sussex are the principles connected with earth. The general who has sat to net a responsible post must be careful to study them. No an army is exposed to several calamities, notarising from natural causes, but from faults, for which the general is responsible. These are flight, insubordination, collapse, ruin, disorganization, rout. Other conditions being equal, I phone force assured. Against an a certain times, size, their salt will be. Theflight off the former. Went the common soldier sare. Too strong. And thyrophysers. Too weak. Their salty insubordination. Went the officers. Era too strong. And the common soldier stoic. Their assaultus collapse. Went the higher officers. Airy angry and insubordinate. And in meeting. Thenemi jiva battle. On thyron account. From a feeling for resentment. Befereth the commander-in-chief. Cantle weatherer it. Their assaultus ruin. Went the generalis weak. And without authority. When his orders. Areno clear and distinct. When there are no fixestities. Assigned to Pfizer Sandman. Antharanx affirmed. In a sloven lihafazard manner. Their sultai sutter disorganization. When a general. Unable to estimate. The enemy's strength. Allows an inferior force. To engage a larger own. Oral socked. Against a powerful one. And neglects. To place spicket soldiers. In the front rank. Their salt must bear out. The Sirsix sways off courting defeat. Which must be carefully note. Be the general who has sattened. Irresponsible post. The natural formation of the country. Is the soldier's best ally. Buta power of estimating the adversary. Off controlling the force of victory. And off shrewd like calculating difficulties. Dangers and distances. Constitutus thetist. Ophagreat general. Hugh Hawk knows the settings. And in fighting poots. His knowledge into practice. Will win his battles. Hugh hoes them not. Nor practices them. Will surely be defeated. If I tingies sure. To result in victory. Then you must fight. Even though. Therial forbid it. If fighting. Will not result in victory. then you must not fight, even at the ruler's bidding. The general woodvinces, without coveting famindretreats, without fearing disgrace, Husianly thought, Isto protect this country, and a good service. For a sovereign, is the Jalof the kingdom. Regard your soldiers, say your children, and they will follow you. Into thedi pestfullies. Look upon them. Ask your own beloved sins, and they will stand by you, even unto death. If, however, you are indulgent, but unable to make your authority felt, kind-hearted, but unable to enforce your commands, incapable, moreover, of quelling disorder, then your soldiers must like an edto spoilt children. They are useless for any practical purpose. If we know the Turomanmen are in a condition to attack, Butari unaware of thathanemi, isnota pintoak. We have agonianly Alfuedo wards victory. If we know thathathemi is opinto attack, but are unaware, Thato Euroman, Arenitin a condition totak, we have gone. On lihuf wait awards victory. If we know thathathemi, isopinto attack, andal sokno thaterman, Arian a condition totak, Butari unaware that, Theniture off the ground, makes fighted Jim practicable. We have a still gone. On lihuf wait awards victory. Hence, the experience setier. Onsen motion. Isna verb wildered. Onsi has broken camp. He is never at a loss. Hence Setha saying, if you know the enemy, and know yourself, your victory will not stand in doubt. If you know heaven, and know earth, you may make your victory complete. Thenan situations. Sun Tzu said, Theartof recognizes Nina variety soft ground. 1. Dispersive ground. 2. Facile ground. 3. Contentious ground. 4. Open ground. 5. Ground of intersecting highways. 6. Serious ground. 7. Difficult ground. 8. Hemmed-in ground. 9. Desperate ground. When a chieftain is fighting in his own territory, it is dispersive ground. When has penetrated into hostile territory, but to no great distance, it is facile ground. Ground the possession of which imports great advantage. to either side, is contentious ground, ground in which each side has liberty of movement. Isopane ground, ground which forms thiki to three contiguous states, so that the who occupies it first has Mustaf the empire. This command, I sag ground of intersecting highways. When an army has penetrated in Tuthheart of a hostile country, leaving a number of fortified city in its rear, it is serious ground, mountain forests, rugged steeps, marshes and Finsall country. That is hard to traverse. This is difficult ground, ground which is reached. Through narrow gorges, and from which we can and lear attire by tortuous paths, so that a small number of the enemy would suffice to crush a large body of foremen. This is shimmed in ground, ground in which we can unlibe save from destruction by fighting without delay, is desperate ground. On dispersive ground, therefore, fight not. On facile ground, halt not. On contentious ground, attack not. On open ground, do not trito block the enemy's way. On the ground of intersecting highways, join hands with your allies. On serious ground, gather and plunder. In difficult ground, keep steadily in the march. And hemmed in ground, resort o stratagem. On desperate ground, fight. Those how are core called. Skillful leaders so fold new. How to drive a wedge between themes frontandrier to prevent cooperation between his large and small divisions, to hinder the good troops from rescuing the bad, the officers from rallying theirmen. When the enemy's men were united, the managetto keep them in disorder. When it was to their advantage, they made a forward move. When otherwise, they stopped still. I fasket how to cope with agree thost off the enemy. An orderly arrayed in the point. Off marching to the attack. I should say, begin be seizing something which your opponent holds dear. Then will be amenable to your will. Rapidity is this in for. Take advantage of the enemy's unreadiness. Make your way by unexpected routes and attack in guarded spots. The following Guerra principles. Tobe observed. By an invading force, the further you penetrate into a country, the greater will be the solidarity of your troops, and thus the defenders will not prevail against you. Make forays in fertile a country in order to supply your army with food. Carefully studieth well-being off the ormen, and o not overtax them. Concentrate your energy and hoard your strength. Keep your army continualianth move and devise ye unfathomable plans. Throw your soldiers into positions whence there is no escape, and they will prefer death to flight. If thee will face death, there is nothing they may not achieve. Officer San Manalic will put forth their uttermost strength. Soldiers when in desperate straits. Lo said the Zencioffier. If there is not place of refuge, they will stand firm. If the are in hostile country, they will show a stubborn front. If there is no help for it, they will fight hard.
Thus,
Without waiting to be marshaled, the soldiers will be constantly on the convive. Without waiting to beast, they will do your will. Without restrictions, they will be faithful. Without giving orders, they can be trusted. Prohibit thee to King Gothams, and do away with superstitious doubts. Then, until death itself comes, no calamity need be feared. I for soldiers are not overburdened with many. It is not because of thee have a distaste of forex. If their lives are no tundily long, it is not because of thee are disinclined to longevity. On the day thee are ordered out to battle, your soldiers may weep. Those sitting up bedewing their garments, and those laying down, letting the tears run down her cheeks. But let them one sea brought to bay, and they will display Thekaragia Fakorake. The skillful tactician may be like an Edto Theshwaijan. Now Theshwajanisa, snake that is found in the Chung Mountains. Strike eat its head, and you will be tacked by its tail. Strike eat its tail, and you will be tacked by its shed. Strike eat its middle, and you will be tacked by head and tail both. A skeet if an armacan be made. Toemita to Theshuai Jan. I should answer, yes. For the Manafu. And the Manafu her enemies. Yet, if the air crossing arriver, in the same boat, and are caught by a storm, they will come to each other as assistance. Just as the left hand helps the right. Hence it is not enough to put one's trust in the tethering off horses and the burying off chariot wheels in the ground, the principally in which to manage an army isto set up on a standard of courage, which thou must reach. How to make Thebiest of both strong and weak? That is a question involving the proper usio of ground. Thus the skillful general conducts his army, just as though he were a leading gasengleman by hand. It is the business of a general to be quiet and through censure reciprocity, partan just, and thus maintain order. He must be able to mystify his officersmen by false reports. and appearances, and thus keep them in total ignorance by altering GIS arrangements and changing GIS plans. He keeps the enemy without definitive knowledge by shifting his camp and taking circuitous routes. He prevents the enemy from anticipating his purpose at the critical moment. The leader of an army acts like Ionu who has climbed up a high tan thinks away, the ladder behind him. He carries his men deep into hostile territory before he shows his hand. He burns his boats and breaks his cooking pots like a shepherd driving a flock of sheep. He drives his men this way and that, and nothing knows whither is going to muster hishest and bring it into danger. This may be termed the business of the general, that different measure suited to the need of variety of soft ground, the expediency of aggressive or defensive ethics, and the fundamental laws of humanature. These are things that must most certainly be studied when invading hostile territory. The general principle is that penetrating deeply brings cohesion. Penetrating beauty means dispersion. When you leave your own country behind and take your army across neighborhood territory, you find yourself in critical ground. When there army and self-communication on all four sides, the ground is only off intersecting highways. When you penetrate deeply into a country, it is serious ground. When you penetrate a little way, it is facile ground. When you have the enemy's strongholds on your rear and narrow possess in front, it is din ground. When there is no place of refuge at all, it is desperate ground. Therefore, on dispersive ground, I would inspire my men with unity of purpose. On facile ground, I would see that there is close a connection between all parts of me army. On contentious ground, I would hurry up me rear. On open ground, I would keep a vigilante. On mide fences, on ground of intersecting highways, I would consolidate me alliances. On serious ground, I would try to ensure a continuous stream of supplies. On difficult ground, I would keep pushing on along the road. And hemmed-in ground, I would block any way of retreat. On desperate ground, I would proclaim to my soldiers the hopelessness of saving their lives. For it is the soldier's disposition to offer an obstinate resistance when surrounded, to fight hard when he cannot help himself, and to obey promptly when has fallen into danger. We cannot enter into alliance with neighboring princes until we are acquainted with their designs. We are not fit to lead an army in the march unless we are familiar with a facey off the country. Its mountain sand forests, its spitful sand precipices, its marshes and swamps. We shall be unoblito turn. Natural advantages. To accountant less. Wemicusio flocal guides. To be ignored. Of any one of the following. 4 or 5 principles. Does not befit a warlike prince. When a warlike prince attacks a powerful state, his generalship shows itself fin preventing the concentration of the enemy's forces. He overwhelms opponents and thoroughly are prevented from going against them. Hence, he does not strive wholly himself with Thalen sundry, nor doshi foster the power off other states. He carries out his own secret designs, keeping his antagonists in awe. Thus is able to capture their cities and overthrow their kingdoms, bestow rewards without regard to rule, issue orders without regard to previous arrangements, and you will be able to handle a whole army as though you had to do with beauty singleman. Confront your soldiers with the deed itself. Never let them know your design. When the outlook is bright, bring it before their eyes, but tell them nothing when the situation is gloomy. Place our army in dead literal, and it will survive. Plunge it into desperate straits, and it will come off in safety. For it is precisely when a force has fallen into harm's way that escape a blow striking, a blow for victory. Success in warfare is gained by carefully accommodating ourselves to the enemy's purpose, by persistently hanging on the enemy's flank. We shall succeed in the long run in killing the commander-in-chief. This is called ability to accomplish a thing be sheer cunning. On the day that you take up your command, block the front of your passes, destroy the official to lies, and stop the passage of full emissaries. Best turn in the council chamber, so that you may control the situation. If the enemy sadorpin, you mistrussion. Forestall your opponent by seizing what holds dear, and subtly contrive to time a highs a rival in the ground. Walk in the path defined by rule, and accommodate yourself to the enemy until you can fight a decisive battle. First, then, exhibit the coin of sofa maiden until Thena midgives you anapening. Afterwards, emuloteth rapidity, o for running hair, and it will be too late. For the inimido oppose you. The attack be fire. 1. Sun Tzu said, there are 5 ways of attacking with fire. The first is to burn soldiers in their camp. The second is to burn stores. The third is to burn baggage trains. Thiferthisto burn. Arsenal sand magazines. Thefifithisto hurl dropping fire. Amongst me. 2 in order to carry out. An attack. We must of means available. The material. For raising fire. Shoulderways kept. In readiness. 3. Their ice a proper season. Formaking attacks with fire. In special days. For starting a conflagration. For the proper season. Eyes when through atharispheri dry. The special day Serathos. Winthamon. I sent the constellations. Of the sieve. The wall. Thewing. Orth crossbar. For these 4. Aerial deso frising wind. 5. In attacking with fire. 1 should be prepared. To meet. 5 possible developments. 6. 1. When fire breaks out. Incita enemy S camp. Respondents. With an attack from without. 7. 2. If there is an outbreak of fire. But enemy S soldiers. Remain quiet. Body ortimiando not attack. 8. 3. Went the forcey off the flames. Has rechetted shade. Follow it up with an attack. If the tis practicable. Not. Stay where ya are. 9. 4. If it is possible. To make ye an assault. With fire from without. Do not wait. For it'll break out within. But delivery or attack. At a favorable moment. 10. 5. When you start a fire. Be to windward of it. Do not attack from the leeward. 11. A wind that trizes. Inth the datum lasts long. Butanite breezes unfuls. 12. In every army. Theft of developments. Connected with fire. Must be known. The movement soft hesters calculated. And a watch kept. For the proper days. 13. Hensethos wouse fire. Asin aid to the attack. Show intelligence. Those house water. Asin aid to the attack. Gain an accession of strength. 14. By means soft water. An enemy may be intercepted. But no troubadour fall. His belongings. 15. Unhappy is the fate. Of one watries. Tau in his battles. And succeed in his axix. Without cultivating the spirit. Of enterprise. For their salt. Is wasty off time. And general stagnation. 16. Henseth saying. The enlightened driller. Lays his plans well ahead. Thigu general. Cultivatetious sources. 17. Move not unless. You see an advantage. You synodi your troops. Unless. There is some ething tobe gained. Fight no tunless. That position is critical. 18. Norler Scholpa troops. In Tuthafield. Merilita gratify. His own spleen. No general should fight a battle. Simply out off peak. 19. If it is still your advantage. Make ye forward move. If not, stay where ye are. 20. Anger may in time. Change to gladness. Vexation maybe. Succeeded by content. 21. Beauty kingdom has once been destroyed. can ever come again into being, nor can't the dead ever be brought back to life. 22. Hinsathene light nedriller. Ishidful. Anthagu general. Full of caution. Assist the way. To keep a country at peace. And in our mind tact. 13. Thusi of spies. 1. Sun Tzu said, raising a host of 100,000 men, and marching thimbry at distances, until Chevalos, on the Piapliand, a drain in Therasaurus off the state, the daily expenditure will amount to 1,000 ounces of silver. There will be commotion at home and abroad, and men will drop down exhausted on the highways. As many as 700,000 families will be petted in Thierlabor. 2. Hostile armies may face each other for years, striving for the victory, which is decide in a single day. This being so, to remain in ignorance of the enemy's condition, simply be causing grudges. Outlay of 100 ounces off silver and honor sand emoluments is the hate of inhumanity. 3.1 Woax jusisnally drofman not present help to his sovereign, no master victory. For that thus, what tina bolus thuis sovereign, anthagu general, to strike and conquer, and achieve things beyond theory of ordinary men, is for knowledge. 5. No this for knowledge cannot be elicited from spirits. It cannot be obtained. Inductive life from experience, nor be any deductive calculation. 6. Knowledge of the enemy's dispositions can only be obtained from other men. 7. Hence thusi off spies. Off from their era 5 classes. 1. Local spies. 2. Inward spies. 3. Converted spies. 4. Doomed spies. 5. Surviving spies. 8. When these 5 can softspy. A real at work. None can discover. The secret system. This is called divina manipulation of hatreds. It is the sovereign's most precious faculty. 9. Having locale spies means employing the services of the inhabitant sofa district. 10. Havingen word spies making use of official soft the enemy. 11. Having converted spies getting hold of the enemy's spies and using them for round purposes. 12. Having doomed spies doing certain things openly for purposes of deception. And a lowinger spies to know of them and report them to the enemy. 13. Surviving spies. Finally, Arethos will bring back news from the enemy's camp. 14. Hints It is that which knoweth whole army. Aramori intimate relations. To be maintained than with spies. Nonce hold. More liberally worded. In no other business. Shold greeter secrecy preserved. 15. Spias gannet usefully employed. Without a certain intuitive sagacity. 16. They cannot. Properly managed. Without benevolence. And straightforwardness. 17. Without subtle ingenuity of mind. One cannot make certain. Off the truth of the reports. 18. Besubtle. And doosier species. For every condosness. 19. I face screpisi ofnus. Is divulged BSB. Before the time is ripe. He must be put to death. Together with men. Tohomp the secretwasteld. 20. Whether the object be. To crush an army. To stormacity. Ordo assassinati an individual. It isolways necessary. To begin be finding out. Thena mess off the attendants. Thea ides de camp. And or keeper sand sentries. Of the general in command. Our spies must be commissioned. To ascertain these. 21. The enemy as spies hohavecum. To spy on us. Must be sought out. Tempted with bribes. Led away and comfortably housed. Thus they will become converted spies and available for your service. 22. Itis through the information brought by the converted spy that we able to acquire and employ local London word spies. 2-3 it isowing his information. Again, that we can cause a theta medspi. To carry. Falsetadingsto the enemy. 24. Lastly, it is be his information that the serving spi can be used in appointed occasions. 25. The indandum of spying. And now its varieties. Is knowledge of the enemy. And this knowledge canonly bet arrived. In the first instance. From the converted spi. Hence, it is essential that the converted spy treated with utmost liberality. 26. Of old. There is soft yindinasti. Was dueto ichi. Hohatser vidunderthsia. Likewise, there is soft chowdy nasty. Was dueto luya. Hohatser vidunderthine. 27. Hence it is only the enlightened driller. Anthuis a general. Who will use the higest intelligence of the army for purpose spying, and thereby they achieve agreed results. Spicariumist. Important element in water. Because in them depends an army's ability to move.